Other day, right?
Right. I gotta see you after the meeting. I need a building on that.
Uh-oh.
No, sick.
Okay.
Okay. Windows.
Work steady, book.
What's that?
Work steady.
Oh, yeah. Can't get any kids to work.
Don't work, you want to work nowadays.
No,
Get it.
can't find people.
Pay them $30 an hour, so we'll work.
We're getting people stay at home, right?
Useless.
That's what I'm doing.
And this,
You know.
everywhere you go, you see some jobs, you know,
Everybody's
help
trying-
wanted, help wanted.
I need to get a bathroom.
Right now, you can pick a cream of the crop job you want.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got any ambition.
I like, just a little, I started off with, just a little, it's all a little bit.
Yeah.
Really, the next thing you know, I started the whole thing. It was 5 months. It turned 5 months. I'm sorry.
I did mine last winter. Business services. At least 2.
It's really where we are.
Yeah, it's not where it works.
We got a hard time. You're thinking, I want to go a long time ago.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy right now. Well, watch your everyone.
Last year, we had almost completely. We were March, rock, we were at the
Oh, good.
we had to buy a special order, they had to get Germany. So it was about 5 years. It took like 6 weeks. It was past March. Summer.
When you get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing really good after the knee and the hip been doing pretty good. He's still having trouble breathing. Years of smoking. They're getting older.
Oh, yeah.
No problem, Judith.
Yeah. How are you?
Did anybody else respond that we're gonna see?
Scott was the only one. I was waiting for him to show up online, but he has not.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, he had another meeting.
I'm here.
Okay. I'd like to call planning and zoning to order at 7:04. Members present, Tom Sweet, myself, David Nevenin, and for all intents and purposes, Max Hallowell online, and Judith Alec will be full voting members this evening. First on the agenda, approval of the minutes from, did everybody get a chance to read them?
Sue. Sue.
Did you get the minutes?
I did.
Okay. Well, 3. Everybody's ready, I need a,
All set on our road.
I need a
Motion? I'll make a motion to accept the special meeting February 2nd, 2021. Yeah, meeting.
Do I hear-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Max?
Aye.
Can't hear Max, but ice. Put
Aye.
thumbs up if it's an aye, Max. Okay. It's an aye. New business. Alfred and Tammy, sorry if I butcher this, Dagnall Construction?
Very good, man.
Okay. The Brew Pub Breakfast Restaurant, 15 Preston Road. You're up.
Going to Tebow for, Foley Associates.
Okay.
I'll just give you the,
We can't hear Max on the Zoom.
Nancy, he's got a meeting, so.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
give
he's
you
got a
the-
vote, so.
give you the Cliff Note version, tonight. I know it's a special permit. That, you scheduled a public hearing for, but, what we have is, the property located on the corner of 165 and Route 49. Right now, there's a 4-family residential property on there. The site has been, somewhat excavated, gravel has been taken out of there, and for all intents and purposes, it's vacant right now. The proposal here is to construct a single building, that'll be a brew pub on one side and a breakfast restaurant on the other side, a little bit of outdoor seating, and the associated parking with it. In order to make the site usable, a retaining wall is going to be constructed along the back of the building, which is on the eastern side. That slope back there is substantially graded already. One of the nice things about this site, one of the advantages that we have is that it's very well drained, it's nice gravel. So we're able to handle some of the stormwater by infiltrating it. We've got some infiltrators back here. We've got some along the road. So that Route 49, which is a Pendleton Hill Road. And also some drainage that comes off of 165. We did provide a brief summary of the report that demonstrates that we are not increasing the runoff to the state roads. The drainage design has been reviewed by Norman Miller at the state. He is happy with it. We don't have final approval from the state. There are a couple of other items that we're still sort of going back and forth with. But as far as the drainage goes, they're satisfied with how they handle the drainage, which typically is one of the big issues. So. The septic system will be along at the further site. There's an existing septic for the residents that runs parallel to Route 49. The proposed septic system is going to be right in the center here. And that'll serve the building. And that the septic system requires some grease traps for the kitchen. There'll be a limited kitchen here, essentially a brew pub with kind of pub food, burgers, appetizers, that kind of thing. And then the breakfast restaurant that'll have a full breakfast menu. So breakfast probably most days of the week. Aside from that, we've got a pretty complete set of plans. We've got landscaping plans. We've demonstrated adequate sight line from both driveways. One of the driveways already exists. This one on Route 49. There is an informal driveway on Route 165 that has been utilized to us in the past. but the DOT has to approve, it as a dedicated formal driveway. So, you know, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I think most of the questions will be, you know, for the public hearing portion of this. But I just don't want to be kind of giving a flavor of what this is about.
How many parking spaces? do we have altogether?
Altogether, we have 56 spaces. That's on sheet 3 of the plan, there's a chart. That's parking requirement.
Yep.
Slow traffic, you got the pending approval from DOT. Is it gonna be in one-way entrance, or is it gonna be two-way entrance, or are we having an inlet and an outlet?
Well, we suspect on Route 49, there'll be inlet and outlet. It'll be two-way on Route 49 and substantially out onto Route 165. Yeah, we do understand that.
Yeah.
People come blasting down that road.
Busy travel,
Very busy road.
travel road.
Yeah.
Stop sign for them.
Right.
Yeah, 49 stuff, they come zipping down here, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, this whole intersection needs to get dealt with by DOT.
Yeah, well, you know,
They've been talking about it
yeah,
for years.
one of the things that we're
It's
kind
like
of,
this, you have to, some people know, I can't turn it that further enough.
Yeah.
Cars coming.
right. You know, and one of the things that we're kind of wrestling with the DOT with a little bit is this retaining wall here that's been there probably 100 years or more.
Right.
And now the DOT said, well, you know, that's in our right of way, have to take out its right of way. But I'm kind of a little bit of a standoff with the DOT on this.
Sue?
Yeah, because, you know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And if you do take that wall out all the way to the right of way line, you're really, you know, you're right up against the house for one thing.
Right.
And then secondly, you've got a patio there, some concrete, you're gonna have to take that out. It just turns into a huge project for something that's been there for generations.
Yep.
Can anybody hear me?
And the DOT essentially in the 1930s, I think it was 1933, is when they established the rights of ways in the state of Connecticut. So that was there. They came and they said, well, this is where our right of way line is, and they struck the line right through that. So now they're not happy
David?
with that. They know that they've known that it's been there for quite some time.
What are you gonna do for lighting?
We've got just these building mounted lights here.
Yep.
And then we got these sort of colonial looking cutoff lights that we've got a place throughout the site. Just enough of the building lights obviously to provide lighting around the perimeter of the building for safety purposes. And we've got, I think, maybe 6 or 7 lights around the perimeter of the property. And these are low posts too, these are only 10 footers. So the intention is just to provide enough lighting for safety, but not to light up the whole sky.
Right.
Just a notation for the minutes, John Savage is on the board at 7:10 PM and will be a full voting member. John, there's another map over there if you want.
No,
You just want to share.
I looked at a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was able to look through it.
Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I'm just.
Pete, have you had a chance to look at these?
Yeah. Couple concerns, that we don't have an actual conceptual drawing of the building itself
Right.
for us to look at, to review. And, the parking calculations are all by assumption. Is there a floor layout that can be put in where it actually shows the floor layout of the building?
We can get that way, absolutely. This is, the size of the building and the number of patrons and tables and so forth has been discussed.
Right.
So, it was based upon discussions I've had with Mr. Dale.
Nope. It's- Okay, apparently Scott Davidson is also on the meeting. He's calling me right now. But we can't see him on the screen. And he's been in the meeting since what, Scott? Just before 7. No, Sue cannot see you on there.
No, if he's on the phone, we see his phone number, but it's not.
You want him to call back in?
Yeah, have him hang up and call back in.
Yep, hang up and call back in. Yes. Right. So apparently Scott's been on the whole time. He's gonna call back in, which means you're gonna step well. Thank you.
Yeah, I was on Zoom before I came in, so.
Oh, yeah, and we only saw Max.
Yeah, it was. And then they, casting, I'm like,
Yeah.
you really can
Yeah.
hear nothing, just checking the casting on that. See what's right. Illumination off the property. Maybe we have the conceptual drawings available for the architecture.
Oh, absolutely, and then that'll figure out the seating and how many parking spots.
Can everyone hear me? It's Max.
Has the sanitarian got a chance to look at that?
They have, they reviewed the plan, they have some comments, we revised the plans and we sent it back to them. So we don't have a final approval yet, but we addressed, 7 or 8 comments that we did that. Okay. We did that.
Then we reach out to the fire marshal for the first.
We have not ordered the final.
So we can see Scott now. It's in there.
Okay.
And one of the things that we were pretty conscious of was we're trying to make sure that the building is under that 5,000 square foot threshold, because once you get to that threshold, then you have to strike the building. So we are well below that.
We can get around for personnel stuff, just give us a chance to look at this, like.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The driveways are generous, the curves are generous, and we just put turning templates on. They should C30, which is one of the bigger turning radiuses, that's very easily.
Maybe get a letter from part of the hearing.
I will absolutely do that, not a problem.
Scott, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
He may need to unmute his phone.
You need to unmute your phone, Scott.
It is unmuted.
Is it our speakers not working?
No, he's on, I think there he is. Now we should be able to. Turn up.
That's what I thought. Thank you, Matt.
They always have these things, I don't even have it, it's there. Try again.
Nope.
Can you guys hear me that way?
So everyone has left. Can you hear me?
Nope, can't hear Max.
What is going on? Try that.
How about now?
Oh.
There you go.
All right, now the floor. Two things. Does anyone have concern about having two entrances? I think it's very important that they have two entrances.
Yes, that's why I was asking about whether one was a two-way, if there was an entrance on one side and exit on the other to keep the flow of traffic moving. But the building itself, Max, if you look at the map, is in the back rear and
Yep.
is mostly just the housing.
All right. I think that's really a DOT issue and kind of a safety issue that they'll have to for
Yeah.
sightline indication. And I mean, I've been stuck in several situations where a business on inside of the corner only had one entrance, and for no fault of the businesses, there was an accident at the intersection, and for hours, not hours, but an hour, traffic was backed up because you couldn't be directed through the parking lot. So I think if we had the opportunity to let the two entrances happen, it would be important for flow through the community.
We did provide, if you look on the last two sheets of the plans, are sightline demonstration plans for both entrances that the DOT has reviewed. And, so, yeah, the intention obviously is to have both entrances. The one at, I don't want to say that it'll be an exit only on Person City Road, but we're going to do our best to try and discourage people from using it for an entrance, unless necessary. Because that's where I think most of the people, the people that live at the residence are more likely to use that entrance.
One more quick thing, if I can.
Well, I think it's easy enough to post proper signage to say emergency and residential entrance only. Just something of that nature to discourage people. And that driveway is a little bit narrower as well. So just by the fact of being narrower, it would discourage it. But obviously, in emergency situations, it would be accessible.
Max, you had another question?
Yeah, just one more kind of comment. I think the reputation of the builder stands quite prominently in the community, and I think this has been an ongoing process for the board and the future business owners. I just think if we have an opportunity to allow them to move forward in good faith now, then it would create a lot of relief for them and the board, knowing that we want this to happen and we can, look forward to the next step. If there are other things that we need from them, we can get those. But if they're providing us with beautiful plans for right now, I think it's showing an incredible effort on their part.
I see Scott back. Scott, do you have any questions?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what was going on.
It was us, Scott.
Okay.
Okay, we have an application. 752, application fee, that looks all good. So we're gonna need to have a Scott, if you're still there, how many days is it for the public hearing?
We need at least 30.
Right.
And I don't know what we have to the next meeting. Plus, I don't know if we're going to be able to get everything
Right.
done in time. The next meeting is on the 9th. So there isn't, no, it's 30 is showing, hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
up to 30 days.
so,
Any other documentation you
Yeah.
need submitted prior.
Prior
Well,
to,
yeah,
prior to that public hearing, or it'd have to be continued.
correct.
You could obviously open, if you're gonna be setting it, it has to be open within that 30-day period. Actually, I think it's 35 days statutorily, you have 35 days to open it. And then once it's open, you have 35 days and up to 65 days of extension.
Correct. My thoughts on the matter is I'd love to take this home and digest it and look at it a little closer. Is anybody else interested in tabling this and then setting a public hearing? I hate the whole job, you know, because I know it's been a long road between everybody.
Retaining wall's gotta go in first. That's the
Right.
main thing that's gotta go in first before we can do anything else.
Right.
So,
But we would love to see, a conceptual drawing of the building, and then roughly a layout. I know you don't know exactly, but just gives us a number of how many people could be in there.
Sure.
And then that dictates the parking a little better.
Absolutely.
Pete has some questions.
David, I have a question. I don't know if this got asked or not. So it's not clear in this drawing to me or in the packet that we got. Is the brewing space going to be in the basement, or is it going to be within the floor of the brew pub?
On the floor of the brew pub, you can see on the southern side of the building, there's a slab. And
Yep.
The brewing equipment will be on that slab.
Okay,
The building's gonna be,
Okay.
yeah, right?
not all of it.
Not all of it.
Some of it's gonna have a function,
Okay.
which would be under the breakfast area and some of the function, so.
Okay, so when you guys figured out the parking, so I saw all the breakdown of that. I also, in the regs, it says that you have to do, for every 500 feet of brewing space, basically, that we need one parking space. So I think, I guess I'm just trying to ask how much of that space is actual brew space?
See that?
Because doesn't look like it was figured in with the parking calculations.
So it's actually 500 square feet. 40 by 15 is the actual brew space.
Okay. So what you're saying to me is it would need one additional parking space, correct?
Well, I think we already have one in excess of.
Yeah, no,
Actually required.
correct.
So-
So.
Yeah. Actually, we have two more spaces than what my initial computation required.
Correct. We required 54 and you had 56.
That's right.
Okay. So that's why I was asking, because if it was that whole basement slab or the basement where it says that you have proposed basement in those two areas, that would be way more than 500 square feet of brewing space.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, that's all I was.
That's what we're on.
So I think you're fine. It kind of got left out, but you have enough spaces.
And I had another question. We have a huge amount of surface area with the parking lot. Where's your water going? I know in the back it's gonna percolate into the gravel.
It'll infiltrate in, and we have infiltration chambers at the entrances as well. We have
Yep.
Here,
Okay,
and we have here,
gotcha.
yeah, some back here.
So everything's gonna pitch.
Everything's pitching off in this direction here.
Right.
There's gonna be a small portion of it
Yeah.
that goes up to the road. Most of it's gonna be captured here. We've got these right at the throat of the driveway, and then anything that goes past here. And the reason why these catch basins are set so far back here is because we have to maintain separation distance from the septic system.
And your well, where is that located from this?
We've got the well right.
Okay,
And we have to, it's located here. We actually shrunk the building down to get that because we have to control the entire well radius on the property.
Correct.
Can't overlap. That's shown on the septic plan.
yep,
And what, David?
yep.
I have one other question. I don't know if it was covered when I was trying to call back in or whatnot, but on top of this 11-foot retaining wall, is there any intentions of a fence?
Absolutely. There'll be a chain
Okay.
across the whole top.
Okay, I just was throwing that out there because I
This is
didn't really see it.
that's on the plans.
Mhm.
The fan, the chain, the,
Maybe if you want to put it back, to keep people from going down there. It's a 3-to-1 slope. It's not an incredibly steep slope. But, you probably want to prevent people from actually entering.
That's okay, that's easier.
Either way, it might be easier just to put it along the back property line, keep people from even entering the property in that direction.
Okay.
Yep.
You know what to do that.
The retaining wall is about 15 feet.
At the highest point, it's 11 feet at the highest point. That's just only in the very middle, and then it takes
Yep.
out to grade along the edges. It has been engineered.
if we could get that on the drawings too, that there will be a chain link fence.
Sure.
And then shown. Anything else anybody's looking for?
You're gonna designate spots for the tenants? Get one line answer, for the spots designated for that.
You got 3 up in the front, right?
Yeah.
The 4 here, we got 2 here,
Okay,
and then we've got 2 in the garage.
Oh, I just designate those tenants on.
yeah, just mark it FDS, tenants only.
Just so you know, the only reason we don't have a drawing with this plan yet is because it's been changed and downsized to me. So I want to get help approved before I actually have a plan drawn.
Yep.
Instead of keep going back and forth here and drawing stuff for no reason, it doesn't make any sense, so.
Yep.
I mean, we're so close for all of that to be done.
Right.
So. And as far as the driveway going in off of 165, the first thing I did when I bought this property and I decided to do this, I met with DOT, and their first question for me, why do I need 2 entrances? I said, because I live in Voluntown, and we have very little businesses in Voluntown, so if we don't make it easy enough for people to come in and out of this property, they're just gonna drive by. So if you're not gonna give me a driveway on 165, I'm not gonna do anything with the property, except leave it as a 4-family or 3-family. So that's the only reason why I went forward with everything I was doing. So, this has been going on a long time, and then the COVID thing came in, it just, put a damper on everybody out, obviously, and,
He's fun to work with.
Now you got the lumber prices, which is.
now that's,
Yeah.
so,
And steel coming right along.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing, as far as the entrances go with DOT, they didn't have a problem with two entrances. They just, their comments were simply, use a breakaway post on the stop sign, show a 50-foot long painted double center line, things of that nature.
But you're gonna split hairs in that wall, right? Next to the road.
That's, I can't even believe that just got brought up, so I don't even know how, to me, that's a state road. So you want to replace the retaining wall, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it, I'm not paying for it, he's gonna pay for it.
Right.
I don't like keep him all quiet and allow this to go on, so, I mean, it's never, like you said, that wall's been there forever,
Yeah.
I mean, really, it should be moved over, that's my feeling is, because more than many people have hit that wall. And a lot of people cut that corner, and they're actually on, this side as they go around that corner most of the time when they take that corner. So if somebody actually comes around that corner, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, but,
So Scott, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Would it be better for them to reapply the application when all the paperwork is done, or should we accept it tonight?
So that's up to you guys. I think we can hold off on, see, the thing is, I think we can do this as like a preliminary review versus an application this evening.
Right.
But Al's got to be okay with that. I mean, I think it would be better to have everything to be able to put it all in one application online so everybody can review everything together. So when we do go to the public hearing, that everything is, all the documents are there versus adding stuff later on, which is not really copacetic either.
That's kind of why I was asking you that question.
I mean, how do you feel about it, Al? I do agree with the statement that was made earlier. I mean, you're doing a wonderful job. You're going through everything correctly. I mean,
great.
I don't want to hang you up, but I don't want to have a snafu later. You know what I mean? So.
I don't disagree. I mean,
Well, and that's why,
that's what we need, and we'll get it done. That's all.
and that's why there are extensions and time limits available as well, so, either way, whether you set the public hearing now for next month or you set the public hearing next month for the following month, I think it does, the same thing, really. It's just, one will be the public hearing, one isn't. It just, the public hearing gives the public the opportunity to come and comment.
Right, which is why we'd love to have all the plans out there so we can look at it. Keep it.
Joe stated the best thing he probably do is request that he brings it back next month for submittal with
The changes,
with the changes that we're requesting here, to submit a full packet for next month, and then you can set up the public hearing.
that sounds fine for you guys?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Hopefully the lumber prices will start coming down.
Yeah, right. Any other questions for you guys for us?
No,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You go.
Thanks, Scott.
So are we just doing this as a review then? Is that what I understand?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, guys.
yep. You too. New business, we have.
I'm new business as well.
Yep,
I didn't know, CEO reported.
yeah, you said,
On the list, but yeah.
right,
This is, Mark Wilson, owns the property at 51 Beach Road, Beachmont Road. We had complaints on some Conex boxes getting dropped off on the back property over there. So I sent him a cease and desist, and he started giving me an explanation what he's looking for a business proposal. They said that, well, you gotta come into planning, it's only get approval on the section, which is looking to do. So I used copy the cease and desist that went out, and I suggested that he came to the commission on a preliminary basis right now, just to give input to the commission, what he's looking to do. Look where we're trying to put it into the regulations of the businesses, and to seek out any other information you guys want for the site plan approval next month, and then next month you can submit an application for the site plan approval. And I think he's got a brief synopsis of what he's looking for with the business. That's what you guys are. Can you explain what he's looking for over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you just saw what happens. We always have questions and we ask for other things. So yeah, if you can, anytime you can come before the board and kind of tell us what you're gonna do, we can help you.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm here tonight.
Yep.
I'll try and make it brief. I certainly don't have a presentation like the one that went before me.
And it's not.
Like the project,
Yeah.
yeah. Real briefly, my wife and I, we own a business where we throw parties. We build games and throw parties. We do it throughout Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, a little bit New York, a little bit Maine. We have portable mini golf. We have Life Size Candyland. We built the business up from scratch over the past 18 years. And when you build a business based on social gatherings and have a pandemic, things fall apart. We lived in Western Rhode Island. We raised 4 kids in a 2,800 square foot house. And when all that started, we decided it was time to sell the house. We bought a 600 square foot cottage over on Bailey Pond, about 51 Beach Pond Road here. The thought on Beach Pond Road was to store our equipment, cold storage only. Everything we do is portable. Everything we do goes out to people. It's not a site that we want to bring anybody in. It's not a mini golf course that, people are going to come there and do anything. In that process, we were buying trailers. We have 5x8 trailers, 6x12 trailers that we store everything in. Not enough of them, and we came across the storage containers, or Conex containers, and decided that was a much cheaper way than to keep buying things with wheels and registrations. So we bought 2 of those and dropped them on the property, not realizing that we were violating the zoning and building code at the time until we received the notice saying that we had started a junkyard, and we're both dismayed. We don't want to be bad neighbors. We don't want to be looked at as having a junkyard. I have the 2 containers there now. They have stuff in them. We come and go. The load business is starting to pick back up, thankfully. Things are good. We recognize that the containers aren't good looking. They're a temporary solution for us. Eventually, we want to put up a building there so that we can house not only our stuff, but I can have a wood shop again. Because right now everything's strictly in storage. There's no power there, so I'm no longer creating games. So if they look better, we've got some ideas on how to dress them up, either paint them, upside them, or do whatever we have to do to keep them there. That's where we are. So,
And we're looking at the regulations on which, it's a business, it's a service provided, sort of falls into that category. It's allowed use in the building district. Basically, there was a site plan approval that was issued back in the year.
In 2000, the previous owner had a survey, which I came here today and got copies of, had a site plan for both a business and 2 phases of a building and a residence, single-family residence. That way, they never did anything with it. That was one of the reasons why we liked the property. That was already there. It already had an established driveway. I didn't have to really do anything to it.
The gentleman owned it prior. It was right before the collapse of the market, and that's when it fell apart. And basically, it was overrented. So that's why it's sat for. So eventually, Sean Gary bought it, and that's what he's looking to do is implement a business in there. And basically, I just wanted to have a site plan for you guys to kind of review, to kind of go over for visual aspects of the road, taking into consideration all that. So that's why I brought him in here tonight, just to give you a preliminary. If you have any other questions for him that he could implement into his plan for next month, when he comes in with a full submittal.
So I'm assuming, Pete, that you got a phone call.
Yep.
Okay. So if you got a phone call, your biggest thing is probably screening. Just that would be my own personal suggestion. Tree, shrubs, fence, something. I know you're going to put a building up, but until that, there's some way to keep neighbors happy. Happy neighbors make a happy life.
Agreed. And just from what I can see, there's only one neighbor in sight of the property. We put the containers on the low side of the property, I'll say.
Right.
Because based on what we saw, the only buildable spot was the high side of the property. 2 reasons. One, we felt they would be more of an eyesore up there. We didn't want to have to move them when we were going to build something because they'd be full.
Right.
When you propose screening, you mean to plant things or put fences or?
If we have any suggestions, because
The electric company
can go either way.
Cleared back 20 feet right after we bought
And
it.
I think that he does have an approved site plan from 2009-ish, somewhere around.
Right.
So, I mean, I think even if you brought in a modification to an approved site plan for your review,
Right,
and he put on that site plan the revisions of what he's looking to do on that,
yeah,
that would give you guys an opportunity to see exactly what he's doing with it this time.
It's just the same, we had a complaint at the previous meeting from somebody that came in to complain. Is that the,
I
Same
don't
case?
remember.
no, I don't think so.
no,
No, this one's right past two, bro.
And you got people riding around town with their neck out the window, you know, this,
I found out quickly.
can't mind their own.
They see woods forever, and then all of a sudden they see.
That's right.
Literally the week we were purchasing the property,
Yes.
the electric company came through and had all the trees cleared 20 feet back. So all of a sudden it went from a property you couldn't see
Right,
to clear as day,
I mean,
as well as we put these containers.
I was happy to see activity on it. I mean,
Uh,
But I think it's just important for me to get into, a modification to an existing site plan.
Now, if I remember right, the site plan before, wasn't it like a two-story he was gonna do?
Yes, brick, remember the round of brick on the facade?
Brick on the facade and then like offices upstairs and
Yeah.
storage downstairs,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
Um,
We've been around a while.
I have. And there was no real issue that we ever heard from anybody when he put the plan forward.
Put the driveway.
I know, yeah.
But we just, bottomed out at that point, never came back.
Right.
So it's good that it's been used, it's just, just so you guys have a chance to review it.
Yeah.
That way people, anybody comes in complaining, hey, I got a approved site plan, I don't have to wait.
Judy, do you know where we're talking about? Do you know the
No.
location? Do you know where Two Brothers is?
yes.
Right.
Go right past Two Brothers. It's right there on the left, that long skinny driveway.
With the driveway with the.
Oh,
With
that-
with the
yeah.
odd fence.
The odd fence on either
Yeah.
side.
It's-
Right.
It's
This
a
is-
Durham
this
rock
is
fence.
sale
For
forever.
It's
Yeah.
for sale forever. Yep.
That's whose name.
For sure. Right.
Okay.
That's the property we're talking about. Because there's nothing buildable on the front because of the wetlands.
Right,
So the piece of property we approved it, the site plan was in the back.
right.
I don't remember the square footage, but
Yeah,
it was decent size.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 bay, maybe.
oh, if you want to put two buildings back there, so.
Only want to make a storage area too for boats. Remember, we want to put boats in there, campus.
Right, on the
Yeah.
bottom and then like
Yeah.
office or something up on the top. There's
Yep.
gonna be real estate or something like that.
Right.
Just off the
Right
street.
before the market.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait. It's on possibly a wait meeting.
yeah, I mean, even if you can use the old plan, get a copy of it.
Yeah.
Because that should be filed here, I think. Yeah,
It is, I pulled
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the survey tonight, so I can show, where I have stuff.
I mean, if you wanna come before the board with a rough sketch of what you're planning on doing, and we can work together and get it all set before you have to spend a ton of money on,
Absolutely.
And because it's a site plan approval, it's simple, and it's a revision. of
It's a revision,
existing site plan approval,
yeah.
So it doesn't require a public hearing, you guys can do it.
right?
So you don't go through the whole process.
So what do you need from me? I'll pull every plan that he had here
Right,
and do a revision to it, to basically what I've already done there. I've got the 2 containers there for now.
Yep.
I have not gone forward for putting up a building, because any business to pick back up before I can
correct.
justify it.
But if you're gonna be putting a building up, you could basically use it, it's a site plan review, so he's got the square footage of the building that will fit.
Yeah.
And it's already done, so
Once
you,
you're inside of that.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Could you explain what these objects are that are causing the issue? I don't recognize.
So,
the
the
term.
the ones like on cruise ships?
Cargo ships.
Cargo
Okay.
ships and cargo boxes,
So
like
it's just a great
big
big.
metal boxes.
metal
2
box.
large metal
What
boxes.
color are they?
One is gray and one is red.
Well, I would suggest that just the dark green would make a big improvement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
Absolutely. And
serious.
yeah.
my wife and I brainstormed all day, and we came up with either a green or brown, or to paint it to look like a barn, so it looked like it belonged to New
Well,
England.
that's red though.
But-
I would go with a dark color that's just going to blend into the landscape.
Right.
And that would not be very expensive, and it really does make a huge difference.
I'm just saying that no clients are going there, it's specifically just for storage.
Storage.
Right.
Yeah, he's not really running, it's just.
Right, it's not a business rent, it's more of a storage area for the
Yes.
service to take off of there.
And just cold storage. There's no power, there's no water, there's no septic.
Right.
It's
With the
just,
potential of futures to do it.
Future, right.
absolutely, yeah, no. On my shop.
As long as you keep your setbacks from the Nate, honestly.
Yeah.
There's no real big issue.
Yeah, just think it'd be good for me to get a site plan from you. So
Yeah.
that way you have something.
Then you have something to go by, yeah.
Next 12 months. Right.
So I'll pull all the site plans from here. Present it.
Yeah.
On the 9th of next month.
Yep, then we'll swap things on site plan.
Put a little makeup on it. So it's
Absolutely.
just all the modifications. So it's a site plan.
Right.
And welcome to Ball.
Well, thank you very much. And we've actually done events at the elementary school next door here.
Yeah.
So they canceled last year as well, understandably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Youth Service Bureau used to.
I'm sorry.
The Youth Service Bureau has used your.
Oh, good, okay. Any other questions for me?
I don't, Max, you or Scott? Nope, Max is fine. And Scott,
I'm good.
Scott's fine. Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you.
See you next month.
Yep, have a nice night.
You too.
Old business, election of officers. So Scott, seeing now we have you here. First off, we need a chairman, a vice chair, and we already have a secretary. From the board, do I have any nominations for anybody or?
Everybody,
Bunch, huh?
Everybody, go ahead. Everybody.
everybody has been asked and has said they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would nominate David Neiman.
I will not do it.
No, that's-
Scott, you interested?
Not really, Mike, with the way that pandemic has changed everything, I just am
No.
I got the
Who
one,
would-
so I'm kind of.
Yeah, you kind of shouldn't. Yeah, Paul's not here. So for now, we have Scott Davidson as vice chair. Would you do that, Scott?
well, I mean, the other thing is that my term is up in November.
Yeah,
So we also have to remember that as well. Obviously, we're going to reelect in December after the election, but you know, we really need somebody that can do this, especially we know that Al's going to come back with an application. There's rumors of other applications coming in. We really need somebody that has some time to devote, and I do not have the time to devote to it in these current conditions. Can I get involved? Yes. Can I devote, 5 hours a week to this? Absolutely not. We need somebody that is on the board, that is not an alternate, to step up and take on a responsibility. I've done this for the last 5 years, and it's time for somebody else to step up.
I don't see, David, it seems to me that you're the only man standing.
I'm the only man standing who's not going to do it. I've been on inland wetlands for years. I've been on planning and zoning for years.
Right.
I know it's involved. I don't have the time for it. Paul and Patricia Ray,
Yep.
and neither one are here. So, yep.
Neither one is there.
And Scott, you actually talked to the attorney about not having a chairman, didn't you, at one point?
Yeah, I did, and he didn't.
Like it.
He didn't like it at all. I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, we shouldn't even be going without a chair right now. I know Tommy's with wetlands. And David, you're in the same boat I am. I mean, this pandemic has really changed
Yeah.
our day-to-day. And it, I'm hoping in 2 years this settles back down. But right now, my industry is crazy busy.
Yep.
So, I've stepped out twice already tonight for another meeting, and I just got beeped in again for another one. But I don't have the time to devote to this, and it's a shame.
Yep.
But I know Patricia's retired. I don't know whether she would take it or she wouldn't take it. I don't know what we're going to do, but we really do need to solve this problem. Like I said, it's going to start to get busy with stuff, and it's going to need some attention. And I do not have the time to give it any attention.
I'd make a suggestion to the table so you have all full members here and you actually reach out to them and make sure that they know strongly encourage them to make sure they make the next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is, we haven't had full members in, I don't know how long.
Yeah, that's part of their responsibility and obligation to be on the
That's
board.
what I'm saying, it's,
So I think you reach out to them. and
Paul
see-
had talked about possibly moving. I honestly don't know if Paul's still around.
from what I
That's the
understand, he was
case.
up by me,
Yeah.
and I think he's still living there, I see his cars.
Right,
But that's the case, then you can bump up one of the alternates.
Right.
Full member.
right,
So that you can move forward with that.
right.
Oh,
Number 2, 4, 6. Yeah,
Two, yeah. I'm up with one.
yeah,
We
coming
all are, the three of us.
up, Tom is coming up this year, and Scott's coming up this year. I don't know about Patricia when her term's up.
It's not up until the end of Bob Panko's, which means it's.
Yeah, which is
Like 3 years from now.
so 23. Probably when mine
I think
is.
that's about right.
Yeah, mine's up in 23, and Paul's is up in 25, so.
Well, hers is either, it's definitely at one time. It's not,
Yeah. Okay, can I get a motion to, let's postpone this yet again until we get full members, maybe for next meeting?
Do what now?
A motion to election of officers, postpone it till next meeting.
I just said so moved, which means you had a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
So you want to add in that you, with a strong encouragement to reach out to the full members to. please
Yeah,
attend the next meeting.
I think, I mean, obviously, we all have these dates on our calendars. But I checked on Monday to see if the agenda had been posted, so I would know whether we were actually going to have a meeting on Wednesday. So the minute you decide that you're, I mean, because we've had so few meetings,
yeah, we haven't.
the minute you decide that you are actually going to have a meeting, let everybody know ahead of time that there will really be a meeting in June.
Right.
You're
Well,
starting to fall back into doing it.
We're gonna have a meeting in June.
Yeah,
Well,
that's,
Then
So,
this is the time.
This is the time.
To tell Paul and
And Patricia, yep,
that there definitely will be a meeting and that it's very important that they attend.
yep. Question for you, Scott.
Yeah.
Fiscal year 2022 budget discussion, that's kind of a moot point, isn't it?
I kind of think it is because I have not had 2 minutes to call the selectmen to even find out what they did.
Right.
I know Tracy called. I had a meeting the night that they had. She had put out to everybody about, they had a budget meeting, hearing. I don't know what they did, but I honestly physically have no clue what's going on with any of that. I don't know whether they cut us to funding to zero, whether they kept our funding the same. I don't know.
They're
Couldn't
having
tell you.
on the 18th.
Right, so they've got a number already.
They have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Right. So I couldn't even tell you what any of that is, though. I do know that Tracy's at one point was looking at a town planner and she was trying to put it through on our budget, but I don't know where that stood. So She did know that we needed to redo the regs. That should have been added to the agenda as well, that we need to speak about that, or that should be the next thing on the agenda. Sue, did you get those letters?
I don't know what letters you're talking about. Anything I got, I guess belongs to you, Scott.
Okay. And yet again, I dropped the ball on that one as far as I had talked to Sue the other day, and said I would forward her the letters. We basically, can we get out of budget discussion and talk about the letters and discussion of regs?
Yes, why don't we, can I hear a motion to also postpone the budget discussion and approval until next meeting? We can maybe find out from, if nothing else, Susan, maybe you could reach out to the selectmen to see what they did for our budget. Because they must have posted something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion. We postpone table to next meeting.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay,
All right.
letters and discussion of regs.
Yeah, so letters and discussion, that was me. I told Sue I would forward them. I had emails both from Juliette Hodge about basically she didn't really want to do the reg changes for us. I think by not giving her the seat on the board, it kind of took the wind out of her sails. She said that if, something got written and they knew exactly what we wanted, that she would put a bid in for it. But, she really wasn't interested. In a nutshell was what that letter said. The other letter was from Jim Larkin from NECOG. And he basically needed to know whether or not it was a full rewrite or if we were just doing little bits and pieces. I did reach back out to him shortly after he sent me the email, and I did say we were looking for a full rewrite. I still have not heard anything back from NECOG in that regards.
I think the whole board was interested in doing a whole rewrite, wasn't everybody?
That's fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
needed.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, to me, there's no question that the whole thing needs a rewrite.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it should have had a rewrite prior to the pandemic. I think a lot of things would have been a lot smoother, and I think a lot of there may have been some opportunity for some stuff to move into town. With that said, I still think that we need to, do a full rewrite on this. How does the board want to move forward with it?
Our only choice is NECOG, as far as I'm concerned, unless somebody else on the
I
board.
know. I kind of agree with you.
Great.
And what will they charge?
Well, that's the thing, they never got back to them.
They have not gotten back to me on that.
Quality product is not.
Yeah.
My
that's-
guess is it's going to be somewhere around probably $10,000 is my guess.
Yeah, but what's the quality we're gonna get from them?
Probably the same.
On why, if you're going to spend $10,000, you would put out an RFP.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you.
I'm curious if you're going to spend $10,000 or considering spending $10,000 to NECOG, you wouldn't put out an RFP.
We can. It comes back to the whole thing that I can tell you right now, I do not have time to do an RFP. Do you have time to do an RFP?
I'm only an alternate. Can I do an RFP?
You can do an RFP.
I'll do an RFP.
Does somebody want to make?
Proposal for a motion for, to put
Yeah.
together a subcommittee, to put together an RFP and put her in charge of the subcommittee
Yeah,
to work on that.
Well, it's kind
And if she's
of-
willing to,
after the product that NECOG gave you for your plan of conservation and development, I would ask them to do anything myself.
So I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm going to tell you that if you followed back the board to the NECOG CCOG debacle, the planning and zoning board was pretty much dead set against running to NECOG versus CCOG. The selectmen chose to move from CCOG to NECOG, basically because we fit into a small town niche with NECOG that we don't fit in with CCOG. But from the planning and zoning side of things, we do not receive the services that we need to run properly.
I understand that, Scott, and I agree with you 100%. I think it was not a good decision to begin with.
yeah.
I 100% agree with you. The board has never been good about it, but there's not a lot of alternatives for it either. We've kind of, I don't know what our other alternatives are. So maybe write the RFP. We'll put it out and see what happens. But Pete, I know that you guys, and the other thing is maybe talk to Tracy because
So you want to look at
Tracy,
the contractual obligation you have with NECOG.
What?
You're going to want to look at.
He can't hear you, Phil.
I'm saying you'd want to look at the contractual obligation that is with NECOG to make sure you're not in violation of doing anything with that.
Well, that too. Well, I was going to say, talk to Tracy. I almost feel like you need to talk to Tracy and see. The other thing is if she is planning on doing a town planner, I know that you guys, Griswold pretty much did, and when I say, Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, most of your stuff was done through your town planner when you guys rewrote your regs, correct?
With the volunteers from the committee, yeah, commission, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of meetings with commission members going over different sections.
Okay.
And that was on different times for meetings, so it was set up opposite, it wasn't a public hearing, it basically had group meetings that go over sections of the regulation.
Right. Like we kind of did for the POCD.
Yeah. There's a lot of volunteers with the commission.
See, the whole thing is that we really need a consistent step at doing that sort of stuff to be able to do it within house. But I mean, if we could do it within house with the town planner and, some commission help, I think it could be done for a lot less money and in a better, suitable way.
Because like I know Lisbon hires subcontracts off or contracts off a planner to come in and work so many hours a week for them. It does the meeting, goes to the meeting, offer.
So I think somebody needs to check in with Tracy and.
How about this, Scott? How about the board send a letter to the selectmen asking them if they're going to do a town planner, when they're going to do a town planner, if they're going to do a town planner, and that'll answer that. And then our contractual obligations with NECOG before we,
That's probably not a bad idea. Sue, could you write a letter for that and I'll sign it?
Yeah, I'll work on it tomorrow.
Okay.
so that it goes in the record for the selectmen, and then they have to make a decision on it.
Yeah, I think
They're
that's
gonna do it now.
a better way of doing it. I agree with you, David.
Okay.
How is everybody okay with that?
Yes,
I am.
I am. Max is. So can I get a motion from somebody?
I'll make a motion that we send a letter, that Sue drafts a letter, asking what the status is on a town planner, what their intention is can we use the town planner for reg rewrites, and what is our contractual obligations to NECOG?
And
That's it.
Judith seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
We got all ayes. Next on the agenda, correspondence. I mean, kind of covered it, Scott. Is there anything else?
I have not physically looked in, I think, well, I shouldn't say that. I looked in when I blew through to grab the prints the other day. There was a big packet in the mailbox, and then there was the cease and desist is all I saw.
Okay.
And I don't know what's all in that big packet.
That was that big book.
Yeah, it was the engineering data.
Yeah, it was the engineering data.
For the drainage.
Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda, ZEO report.
Like, blew my thunder away with the season system already. Claudia's, I guess, then, somebody's looking to go in there and open up in the restaurant.
See that?
So, I haven't had anything submitted to me to kind of review. We basically told them to reach out to the fire marshal, do a walkthrough with him, make a determination. Try to get done for safety, usually fine. So, that'll be good if that gets up and running again. And the Riverside Mall, I'm also waiting on the fire marshal to get his final sign off for the thrift store, or whatever they're looking for. That's a continuation from a couple months ago.
Hey, Pete,
Yeah.
could you shed some light for the board on the rumor going around about the Tamarack and brew whatever they're doing, or whoever's brewing beer down there, or whatever's going on, just so the board understands what's going on.
Kitchen downstairs, they opened up a mini brew to operate in segue with the bar. So it's part of the business within the business that's there. Basically, they got another permit for the state for microbrewery. Health department did a review on it, but I told them as long as they're servicing the Tamarack, right, it's not an issue. If they did a commercial venture where they were producing and selling off sale somewhere else, that becomes an issue. So as long as they keep it within house, it's not violating anything like that, right?
No change as far as the fire marshal concerned or anything?
No, he was fine with it.
Okay.
But he had no issue with it at all.
Okay, general planning discussions. Anything, anybody?
Well, I have a question about this affordable housing zoning mandate public hearing. Planning and Development Committee. Monday, March 15th, 10 a.m. via Zoom.
Yep, I didn't see it.
Well, it's from Susan to Peter, Paul, David, John, and so on. Subject, affordable housing zoning mandate, public hearing.
Yeah, it was, I remember correctly, it was something with the state that was mandated. It wasn't. Sample.
So,
They had to pose it, they had to go through the process of what they were looking for.
Are you talking about the public hearing that the state held, or are you talking about what the town's trying to do?
no, well, this is, I mean, it was sent to all of us. And, but it's definitely a very extensive, and I'm just wondering if it's something that we're all expecting to attend.
So I do know that Tracy, the selectmen are working on that, as we discussed before. They're trying, Tracy sent out surveys to the town. And I know that she, is got all sorts of information and trying to figure out what needs to be done.
I remember correctly, it's obligatory timelines that have to be met by the state, is what they're looking to do.
Right.
But in other towns, Scott, it's the planning and zoning commissions that are doing this.
That's what that was about. It was to
So that's what-
understand what you,
That's
So,
responsible.
We did not.
so most other towns have paid staff that is doing this. We have no paid staff. The selectmen took the lead on this.
So
They are paid, and that's kind of the decision made.
So then we're all comfortable with that. And we
Okay.
don't have any responsibility as far as the, affordable housing plan that the town has to submit.
Correct,
Okay, thank you.
correct.
Right.
Anything else from anybody? Max says no, Jude, no, Tom, no.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, at
I'll second that motion.
8:17. All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Motion passed. All right,
Good night.
Good night, everybody.